Hi, I'm Dawn Damari, and you're listening to another episode of A Teaspoon of Healing. Today's topic is about tips for recovering people pleasers. And before I discuss this a little bit more, I do want to mention that being a little bit of a people pleaser is a good thing. We do want to cultivate and keep our relationships with our loved ones. We don't want to alienate everybody, and we want to keep the peace. So I wanted to put that out there first. However, according to research, being a people pleaser, being too much of a people pleaser, can contribute to stress. And being too much of a people pleaser, that's something we want to avoid. So I don't know about you, but this is something I've struggled with throughout my life, and I'm getting better at it. And again, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit of a people pleaser. We all want to do that, but too much isn't good. You'll know if you're a people pleaser, there's going to be things you're not comfortable with, like saying no, maybe to plans or just things you don't want to do. Perhaps speaking your mind, doing things that you want to do, putting yourself and your own needs first sometimes. And you may even have this nagging thought in your mind, like, is that okay? When you make a decision, I find myself sometimes even saying that. Oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Is that okay? I'll tell someone and I'm thinking, why am I saying that? Again, it's fine too sometimes, but if you're constantly second guessing your own decisions because of how it might affect someone else, and not in a sense that it will hurt someone else. We don't want to hurt other people, but we do want to be able to put ourselves and our needs first sometimes. So here's a few things you can do. Number one, don't be afraid to say no. And this might upset people, but sometimes you need to say no to things, whether it's plans, whether it's things you don't want to do, just because maybe you want to do something else, or maybe you're tired, or maybe you want to focus on something. It's okay to say no. Number two, be comfortable with having boundaries and setting them. And this is a topic again for another podcast, but boundaries are non-negotiable things that you don't feel comfortable doing. And if somebody disrespects your boundaries, you can't control that, but you can control how you respond to that. And if you don't know what your boundaries are, a good way to determine them is just to write them down and maybe rank them in order. You'll be surprised what you find out. Another thing you can do, if you're a people pleaser, you might find yourself having difficulty putting your needs first sometimes, especially if you're a parent. Again, it's always okay to take care of your kids' needs, especially when they're young, before yours. But sometimes you can put your needs first. You can tell your spouse, your significant other, or the person you're co-parenting with to maybe take care of the kids a little while you can go and do something for yourself, do some self-care. This could apply to pretty much anybody. Anyone who feels that they don't take care of their own needs sometimes, it's okay to do that. It might disappoint somebody, but that's okay. Another thing for former people pleasers is it's okay to have your own thoughts or beliefs or opinions about things. Even if others try to force you to see things their way, try to even bully you to have the same opinion as them. No, you don't have to. And that might disappoint people, alienate people, and that's okay. Now, there's a difference between opinions and facts. Facts are things that are objective. They can be verified and proven, where opinions and beliefs, those are subjective. So it's okay to have your own beliefs. It might not always be the best idea to express them. Perhaps if you are afraid that you're going to lose your job, you might not want to say that at work because you want to be able to pay your bills. Or a family gathering or Thanksgiving dinner might not be the best place to express your beliefs on certain topics if you know someone else there might not agree with you and you just don't want to start an argument. But other than that, it is okay to have your own beliefs and express them, even if other people disagree. And in the same vein, it's totally fine to do things that you want to do. Maybe you want to start a new creative project, or you want to take a class, or you just want to do something that perhaps maybe isn't in line with your friends and family. Maybe they don't want to do that and they are confused why you might want to. That's okay. Go ahead and do it. It might be a little scary at first, especially if you've been a people pleaser for a while, but it's okay to do it. And I encourage you to do it. And there are a lot more things I could talk about, but I'm trying to keep this short and sweet. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. If you're someone who has struggled with people pleasing and not wanting to rock the boat, there are times that it's okay to stand up for yourself, and don't be afraid to. It might feel very uncomfortable at first to do this. I know, because I'm in the same boat, but don't be afraid to do that. And if it upsets somebody, there's ways to do it without hurting someone else. But if you get a lot of pushback, you might even want to think about, what is my relationship to this person, and should I evaluate this? If they're having a problem with you standing up for yourself in the face of perhaps bullying or something else, it's okay to stand up for yourself and stand up for your own needs. So I hope this has helped. Again, these are just a few things that have helped me. I do want to mention that I am not a licensed counselor or psychologist. So if you would like more help with any of this, please see a licensed counselor or psychologist. And before I sign off, I do want to mention one thing. When I started this podcast back in 2017, the first time, I definitely wanted to share a lot of positivity, and I still do. That's the goal. But life isn't sunshine and rainbows, and healing definitely isn't. It definitely involves facing sides of yourself that people call the shadow side, darker sides, and working through it. And it also involves things like stopping people pleasing, standing up for yourself. And sometimes these things can seem a little bit unpleasant. So that's pretty much it for today. Some of my future episodes will have guests. I have a few interviews lined up, and those will be a little bit longer and varying topics. And some of the topics will be just me. So please subscribe to this podcast if you haven't yet, and I will talk to you soon. And now we're going to have a little disclaimer and a message from our sponsor. Bye.
Susan, you remember the time we were in Orange County? We were driving around and we got lost, and we ran into this place called
Avila's El Ranchito.
You remember the place? The place had awesome decor and authentic margaritas.
Did you know that Avila's El Ranchito has been around since 1966? They have 13 locations throughout Orange County. Visit Salvador Avila's location in Lake Forest and Foothill Ranch for great food, ambiance, and specialty margaritas.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Please consult a physician or other health professional before undertaking changes in lifestyle or wellness habits. The author claims no responsibility to any person or entity for any liability, loss, or damage caused or alleged to be caused directly or indirectly as a result of the use, application, or interpretation of the information presented herein.